day, everyone. I wanted to share today on the Hebrew midwives, and that is taken from Exodus chapter 1. I'm gonna begin from verses 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shipra and the other was Puah. And he said, when he do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, if it be a son, then he shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere. The word ere there means before time. The midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. Right, so that's taken from Exodus chapter 1, from verses 15 to verses 20. Now I wanted to pause here because I was looking at the midwives, the Hebrew midwives, and it came to me while I was at work. A midwife does not leave the laboring mother until she delivers. The midwife does not leave the laboring mother until she delivers. I remember when I was in labor, excruciating pain, and my midwife was there, Nurse Buchanan, and she was there and she assisted me through the process. They had started me in labor. I think it was a Friday morning at 10:10 a.m. and I didn't give birth until Saturday at 7:02 p.m. And I remember when she came on her shift, because she wasn't there with me from the beginning. Other midwives were there, and nurses and doctors. And when I remember when she came on her shift, I was so happy to see her because you build this relationship with her over the months. So the mere fact of her even delivering me, I was so grateful. And she came and she started to inject me, not injecting me, but she put the drug then in the tube for it to take it into my arm. And she was basically putting more pain on me then because she wanted me to reach a certain centimeters dilated, right? So I remember I was at 4, and then I was at like say 5. Then I went to 7. And I remember I was just at my end. And I was like, oh my God, my husband was there, my mother was there, they were assisting me through. I remember my mommy was holding my hand and she praying and she singing and she praying and she singing. And my husband was there and he was saying, he couldn't bear to see me in such pain. And I remember it was after 6 and she said to me, she said, oh, I'm going to have lunch and come back. By the time I come back, you will be ready. And I was like, nurse, please don't leave me, because I was in such pain. And not that I didn't appreciate my mother being there or my husband being there, but the mere fact of her being there, it just gave me more of a sense of comfort. And we were there and she went for lunch and she came back and she said, okay, we're going to check in. Before that, I was saying, God, please just let something miraculous happen so that I reach that centimeter dilated that I'm supposed to be. And I remember she checked me. I said my prayer before. And she checked me and I reached the 10. I was like, thank God. So even though I was still in the pain, I know that it was closer to me delivering. And she said, okay, you're at the 10 now, so we can go to the delivery room. And she walked me to the delivery room. I know my husband was there in the delivery room with me. And she told me to push and when not to push. And she said, okay, do you need the time to breathe? And she said, Trudi-Ann, the baby is not getting any oxygen, so you need to push it. But I was so exhausted. But she assisted me through the process, right? She assisted me through the process, and I was so grateful for her for that. And it came to me when I was at work. A midwife does not leave a laboring mother until she delivers. Now, can you imagine if my midwife had left me, right? I never see her. She gone somewhere far, and she was not there to basically walk me through the process. And it came back to me as I read Exodus chapter 1. The Hebrew midwives, they were there. Now, when I did my research, the Hebrew midwives, they actually developed a relationship with the mother, because even that was even in my case, because I remember when I went to my very different doctor visits, Nurse Buchanan was there. She's the one who checked me, she weighed me, she checked my pressure. So we had developed this relationship. It's the same thing with the Hebrew midwives. They had now developed a relationship with these women who they were delivering. Just as how you have a physical midwife, you can have a spiritual midwife. You have a prophetic word, you have a vision, and that woman, that spiritual midwife, will not allow you to give up on that word until that vision or until that prophetic word comes to pass. You're there to encourage them. They're in pain, because guess what? The vision has not yet come to pass, or that prophetic word has not yet come to pass. They're kind of distraught, they're kind of cast down, probably in their spirit. But you, as a spiritual midwife, is there to assist them and to encourage them in that word, or in the word of God, right? And not to allow them to give up on the word or on the vision that God has given unto them. Right? So this is a very serious office. Also, I want to point out to you that Pharaoh, because these women, when I did my research, the Hebrew midwives, they were a respected class of women. So they weren't just ordinary slave midwives, right? They were a respected class of women. And that is why Pharaoh spoke directly to them. He spoke directly to the Hebrew midwives and said, listen, if it be a boy, then kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Right? So we know that these women are respected women. These women can hear what the enemy is planning. He speaks directly to them. But because they fear God more than how they fear Pharaoh, they did the right thing and they saved the boy babies, right? And we also know that Moses was a part of this, right? Because the Bible also stated that when Jochebed, when his mother could no longer hide him, she had put him in the river and put an ark of bulrushes, the Bible said, and daubed it with slime, and put him in the river. And it so ended up that Moses ended up right into the hand of Pharaoh's daughter, right? So we see here that midwives are very, very important, especially spiritual midwives. Now, when you have a word or you have a need, these are the persons that you need to attach yourself to. Those who know how to carry a word on the inside of women, especially women who have already given birth, spiritual women of God, women of good standard, that will help you to carry that vision or to carry that word until it comes to pass. So I speak to you today. Get attached to your midwife. You're carrying a word. Listen, you're carrying an issue, and you need to have the assistance of a midwife, of a Hebrew midwife, somebody that don't believe in false God, someone that does not believe in idol worshiping, right? But believes in the true and living God. These Hebrew midwives, they believed in God. And Pharaoh believed in idols. But they believed and they feared God. They feared God. And because they feared God, they were able to save the boy children in Egypt. Right? So you need your word to be saved. You need your vision to be saved. And I'm telling you tonight, just attach yourself to a midwife that can assist you in carrying that word until that word comes to pass. All right. So that's just my short words here, again taken from Exodus chapter 1. You can read yourself. It's a beautiful, beautiful chapter. So much to gain from it. All right. So have a blessed evening.